You deserve to die. I hope you all get murdered. I hope you all get throat slashed.
You disgraced America, and I pray you die today, but not before your family does. I pray they die a painful death.
Well, I don't know if that's what unleashed it, but you know, we just saw the intro on the healthcare, and it started with we actually elected an attorney general who threatened some of those things, and you know, that's what we're electing now today. So, you know, both sides have got to ratchet it down, presidents included there, but the fact
when it comes to
wait, can I ask you a question? Stop what? You said they want them to stop. Stop what?
they want them to stop speaking out.
So you said speaking out against Trump. So you're saying that you believe that inherent in the fact, but you're saying it's speaking against Trump.
Because they speak
if
out
it's
against
speaking
Trump
against
in other
Trump,
ways.
then you
They
took the
speak
message
out,
the way they
speak-
intended it. You took it the way they intended it, which is that Trump has given illegal orders,
He is
and you
not-
can't name
hold
one
on.
and nobody else can.
Hold on, let me just say that with unconstitutional
What are
orders.
they?
That's what
What
I
are
believe.
they?
I'm saying regardless.
I don't know.
I believe-
regardless of
Time out.
president.
Time out.
Regardless,
Can I answer
I'm
the
not
question?
understanding what Scott's point is.
So
How do you know? It hasn't been
because I've
litigated.
been in that court,
But it hasn't been litigated. You're making that up.
No, I'm not making up.
Hello, everybody. Guys, we got Trump's most loyal baby mama, Scott Jennings. I don't have a name for the other idiot on the panel, Ken. Guys, listen carefully to these voicemails and how these people speak. Let's get into this segment and we'll talk about it.
President Trump's quest for vengeance has 6 new targets. The Democratic lawmakers who are behind this video urging U.S. troops to defy illegal orders. A source tells CNN that the FBI is now getting involved and wants to interview each of them. The president has called the Democrats traitors, and he said that they could be executed for seditious behavior. And just yesterday, the Pentagon announced an investigation into Senator Mark Kelly for his role in that video, and he threatened to court-martial him. Now, in a joint statement, the Democrats said today that the president is using the FBI to intimidate, to harass them, but that will not stop them from doing their job to honor the Constitution. So while all of this is happening, predictably, there are threats, many of them. They're receiving bomb threats. There are some audio files of people calling into Senator or Congressman Jason Crow's office, and let me just play those for you.
You deserve to die. I hope you all get murdered. I hope you all get throat slashed.
You disgraced America, and I pray you die today, but not before your family does. I pray they die a painful death. Hurry up and die, you worthless traitor.
Party of family values, Christian
we've talked
values.
a lot about the prudence of this video, but whether you like it or not, Trump's putting on the table the death penalty seems to have unleashed things like that.
Well, I don't know if that's what unleashed it, but you know, we just saw the intro on the healthcare, and it started with Trump's hyperbole branding of whatever he's talking about. It fits right in that vein. I reject all of that language. I mean, we just went through an election in Virginia where we actually elected an attorney general who threatened some of those things. And, you know, that's what we're electing now today. So, you know, both sides have got to ratchet it down, presidents included there. But look, the fact of the matter is, you know, you zeroed in on Mark Kelly. He's in a unique position. He is covered by the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. I used to do these cases many years ago. And he is, we'll give you an analogy. If 6 generals put out a video today about something Trump did yesterday, just say he sent troops to fill in the blank city to help ICE, and these 6 generals happen to put a video out the next day saying, hey, you don't have to follow illegal orders by the president, they'd be subject to justice under the UCMJ.
So are you saying, but hold on, are you saying that these senators, by simply reiterating what is in the oath for military officers, are subject now to court-martial? Is that really what you're arguing?
So only one of them, and that would be Mark Kelly.
Sure, but like, let's say any
your
person who is a former military officer, their repetition of what nobody disputes that this is actually the code of conduct for the military. So their repetition of that code of conduct, you think, is enough to court-martial them?
So the UCMJ doesn't work like civilian justice systems. And I hear in your question sort of a presumption that it does.
No, my question is,
you don't need the kinds of intent in the military.
It's a basic factual question about Do you think that this is something that would actually warrant? So it's not like you're saying they're lying. They didn't say you must disobey the president. They didn't say this particular order is illegal and you should disobey it. They just said that you know that your code of conduct says this, and you should remember to not obey illegal orders. And you're telling me today that you believe that that is enough for someone to be court-martialed.
It could be, yes. I'm not saying that I would vote guilty here. I'm saying that there is a legitimate
sounds like you're backing away from
it.
Because I think that's...
Those voicemails you heard is exactly what Trump wanted. You see how these Republicans speak? The party of family values, speaking about killing the man's family before killing him. The party of Christian values, right? I'm sure your God would love to hear your explanation for that one. And by the way, those voicemails sound like some old ass effing people. And what I saw there is that they aren't different than the younger ones coming up. They all speak so violently, so disgustingly, truly reprehensible, scum on the bottom of your group of people. All for what? For what? Because of a video saying, hey, by the way, military people don't follow illegal orders. That's it, very vaguely. I mean, just incredible. Which, by the way, is technically you just trying to help the military out by saying that. The excuse of, hey, I was just following orders will not work in case you didn't know. Like, what's the big deal? Is it political? Yeah. Everything is a politician does is. In my view, a politician, every appearance, every interview, every social media post is political one way or another. If you don't see it that way, you will get played. It's just, to me, about what angle are they taking in their politics that I care about. Of course, they're politicians.
UCMJ would actually protect Mark Kelly because of their rules. Does it give them the right to court-martial somebody for doing something illegal that they find? And this is two vastly different systems. You can get charged for DUI under a regular, Virginia or D.C., Maryland court of law and still have to be subjected to the UCMJ.
Right.
However, asking someone to defy what they believe to be legal court orders not only is protected under the United States Constitution,
Correct.
but it's also protected under UCMJ. And Mark Kelly knows that. But I don't think that was the root of your question. What people are mad about when they see this is it's just an abuse of power. It's a waste of resources. Why is our FBI, when we're concerned about X, Y, and Z, trying to get with the Sergeant of Arms to hunt down 6 United States senators?
Yeah.
They're not treasonous. And the other thing is the irresponsibility of the President of the United States. We can bring up whatever candidate, whatever person we want to bring up. There is a higher bar for language for the President of the United States. And for him to utilize the language of being treasonous, to being a sedition, what's the word?
Seditionist.
Seditionist, thank you. To all of these things is a fundamental problem that you talked about adding gasoline to the fire, and that's what the President of the United States did.
What about the FBI investigating the actual threats against these lawmakers? I mean, listen to what Kash Patel, the FBI director, said about that when he was asked whether they're going to get involved in the bomb threats and all the other threats that are coming in.
This idiot is about to get fired.
What goes through my head is the same thing that goes through my head in any case. Is there a lawful predicate to open up an inquiry and investigation, or is there not? And that decision will be made by the career agents and analysts here at the FBI.
Is the FBI getting involved?
Based on the fact that it's an ongoing matter, there's not much I can say.
I think that the idea that the FBI would investigate, we know who made the video.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought that this was the party of free speech. But then now that there are threats, I don't hear Kash Patel saying, hey, we're going to try to find these people who are threatening sitting lawmakers.
That's right. If the FBI is talking to lawmakers, it should only be to talk about the threats that they're receiving and so that they can go and investigate those threats. What's interesting here is if the FBI if the Justice Department were to bring cases against these lawmakers, these would be thrown out. The only reason that the FBI is even looking into this is to chill speech. That's exactly what it is. He wants these people to stop. He wants other members of Congress to he wants to silence Democratic members of Congress and other elected leaders on speaking out against Trump. When it comes to...
Wait, can I ask you a question? Stop what? You said they want them to stop. Stop what?
They want them to stop speaking out.
So you said speaking out against Trump. So you're saying that you believe that inherent in the video is that Donald Trump has given illegal orders.
No, actually, what I will say about
because what Abby argues is that they're just stating a fact, but you're saying it's speaking against Trump.
Because they speak
if
out
it's
against
speaking
Trump
against
in other
Trump,
ways.
then you took the message the way they intended it. You took it the way they intended it, which is that Trump has given illegal orders, and you can't name one, and nobody else can.
Hold on, let me just say that Congress has a role in ensuring that there are whistleblower protections when people come out.
So you believe there are illegal
orders? I'm not saying there is. I'm saying in the Biden administration. Okay. I'm saying in the Biden administration, there were whistleblowers. In other administrations, there have been whistleblowers. And what happens is Congress's responsibility to ensure that these people have protections wherever you are in the federal government and whether you're in our military. This has happened throughout administrations. So if they believe, if they have reason to believe that there is something that is unconstitutional,
just to put a bow on this.
You believe Democrats
just to
move forward.
I hear you. Just to put a bow on it, you believe that it is that you took the message. Democrats are encouraging the military to defy the commander-in-chief over some current orders that you can't name, but you're pretty sure they're illegal.
Here's what I believe. I believe that regardless of the president, no one in our military should actually follow through with unconstitutional orders.
What are they?
That's what I believe. I'm saying regardless.
Here's what they are.
Regardless of president.
I'm not understanding what Scott's point is.
So Scott believes,
and I don't want to speak for Scott, but Scott believes Trump?
Scott believes they're not.
Scott holds his head like an idiot, and the international community thinks those Venezuelan boats that Trump is blowing up is illegal. There's a gray area with that, I guess. I don't know the laws exactly when it comes to that. But isn't the UK not giving us intelligence now in the Caribbean because of that? Like, Scott is really out of his mind. He really doesn't like people coming for his baby boo Trump. You can see it in his eyes, guys. His passion. He really doesn't like it. Guys and ladies out there, find a partner that loves you as much as Scott loves Trump. It's really beautiful to see. This sociopath, Scott Jennings, again, the only argument that he's making is the only one they all have. Well, they were just being political. They were just trying to take a dig at Trump. And it's just like, yeah, who cares if they were taking a dig at your baby daddy? It's just like, who the F cares? That's why Abby mentioned, what about freedom of speech? Because again, which is like what they always cry about. It's the same thing that happened with Jimmy Kimmel when they took him off the air. And they had to put him back on because, again, this freedom of speech thing, these people are such whiny little crybabies. They're such snowflakes. They hate it. They hate it so much. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. That's all it is a bunch of crybabies. And yes, it was a bait in some ways. And Trump got baited and said he wants them executed. Because Trump is such an effing delicate flower that they knew he would explode. And sure enough, he did, as unhinged as ever. So the world can see how out of his mind this guy is. And these idiots are defending it. Republicans, that's what they do. It's cultists. Trump could have won that little battle if he just shut the F up. And he just said, you know what? They shouldn't be doing stuff like that. It undermines us a bit. Chill out. But no, he doesn't have the temperament. He's too emotional. Typical Republican or conservative behavior. Hysteria at its finest. Calm the F down. Shut the F up.
No. His whole point is that the root of the matter is, what is the illegal order?
That's a great question. And I know you and I have a disagreement about it.
Correct, because I believe the illegal orders are bombing people or using drone strikes illegally in the Caribbean Sea to deter what they're using as the war on drugs. And I think there are many people in this country who believe that that is an illegal order that's violative of the Constitution. And but to Scott's point is, if that's a gray area, and I don't have to, it's like playing devil's advocate, I don't have to make your point, but if there's a...
Bakari, Papa, easy on the Beijing there. Easy on the black dye, Papa. Your hair look good already.
Gray area, should the military follow it or not? The only point that I have is that you're correct.
Answer, yes.
You're correct, because this is not a good use of time, a good use of resources. It's only being used to chill speech. And not only that, but United States senators, whether or not it's UCMJ or whether or not it's the First Amendment, they actually have protections for the things they say because they're United States senators and members of Congress.
Sorry, Scott. The speech or debate clause only protects them when they're performing legislative functions, not when they're out making videos and getting on X. That is no coverage.
How is that not a legislative function?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The D.C. Circuit's the toughest circuit in the country on this, and they won't give that protection.
How do you know it hasn't been
because
litigated?
I've been in that court on
But it
this
hasn't
subject.
been litigated. You're making that up.
No, I'm not making up having litigated this.
No, not that part. I know you've been around. I know
They
you've
have
been around
a role
couple
to
times.
ensure that if someone
But the
comes
10th
forth with
Circuit hasn't
information,
ruled on
something
that.
that was
so this is a good
unconstitutional,
example.
they have every right to ensure that that whistleblower
Yes.
has protections. And what they're telling the military is if something
and how
that is
they do that-
unconstitutional, then come
You're
forth and we
agreeing
will
with me.
protect you.
And if they're doing that in their capacity, let's say they're on the Armed Services Committee, for example, to stay with your example, then they very well could, in performing those functions, have the speech or debate protection. They do not have it when they go out and make public announcements. You don't get it for that. You don't get it for dealing with your constituents.
So you don't get
it for dealing with federal
You don't get it at a
agencies.
town hall meeting?
No.
Oh, wow. That's
No,
crazy.
you don't.
That's crazy.
Hey, look
Tell
at the
Nancy
case
Mace
law.
that. Tell Nancy Mace that.
Hey, look. That'd be fun. I know, hometown, right? But look, that's just the case law. That's what the Supreme Court has said, not Ken Cuccinelli.
But I think look, I do think that
Ken Cuccinelli, like, these people are so disingenuous. Before I forget this, he said earlier that he doesn't think those voicemails were based on Trump saying that they should be executed for being traitors. Such an effing liar. Unbelievable. I wish they would have cornered him more on that. Of course, that's the reason they sent those voicemails, you idiot. It's the reason why when Trump said what he said, it was taken seriously by the media. Because everyone knows, what everyone knows, both sides, about the MAGA cultists is how out of reality they are. You heard what they said in those voicemails. They aren't all there. We all know it. Show me the Democrats. Show me people on the left leaving voicemails like that for Republicans. Like, and not all of them are stupid enough. They are stupid, right? They have a measure of stupidity. All Republicans, in my view. But some are smart enough not to leave an effing voicemail. I mean, truly. It's why I call these people brain dead. Just amazingly stupid. Ken Cuccinelli, whatever his name is, said both sides need to ratchet it down earlier. But brings up a comment said by someone 2 years ago. Just, most people don't even know about Jay Jones' comment until recently. Like, this is the president of the United States with much more reach, much more influence. Possibly the most influential person in the country easily. Right? I would say so. Like, the comparisons they have to make, how far back they have to go 2 years ago is very telling. And again, this climate that we're in right now was created by that piece of crap, Trump, and the way he speaks and he goes about things. He created this mess that we have in politics and society right now. This conversation should be about those effing voicemails. Not if, like, oh, yeah, should they be considered traitors and seditionists? Like, unbelievable. But the insurrection in January 6th, no, what was that? That was a peaceful protest. Diablo.
that whether that is true or not would need to be litigated. But I also think that separate from that, I mean, this comes back to the basic question about speech. Is it okay for anybody in this country to say, whether they're a senator or not, that, hey, if you're in the military, you shouldn't follow illegal orders? So let's put aside their role for just a second. Is that an okay thing to say in this country, or is that a seditious act?
That is an okay thing to say. For
so
you
then
to
why
say,
is
for
it
me to
okay
say,
for?
but wait, let me finish it out.
But hold on. But why is it that it's okay for me to say, but the FBI is knocking on the door of five members of Congress who are in the House and the Senate, and one who is also a former member of the military?
Because Trump
Why?
is a sociopath.
And of course, I zeroed in on the one that's the former member of the military because the coverage for him is entirely different for the others. And I agree with you that I think we just watched Kash Patel explain the standard for an investigation. I think these questions are going to get asked and they're going to be ended.
But you
But
could
that
credit
may
any
not
of
be-
that.
I'm not even
that
sure.
may not be true
I'm not even
for Mark
sure
Kelly
what
as
is
it relates to the
even
military.
what is even the law
But you're
that would be
saying,
broken.
what you're saying,
This is why
what you're
he's
saying,
thrown out of court.
what you're
That's
saying,
part of the issue.
what you're saying is Pete
No law is
Hesketh
being
being out of
broken.
his depth. That's what you're seeing. And you see it on Twitter. You see the back and forth. I guess it's called X now. And you see Pete Hesketh literally going at an American war hero. Democrat, Republican, you don't have to like any of his votes. Mark Kelly is a hero. And what he's doing right now is he's elevating Mark Kelly to another level politically. And I think Mark Kelly and everybody else is embracing that. For a long period of time, the politics are Gavin Newsom was the front runner for the Democratic nomination, but now people are learning about Mark Kelly because this is not fair. Pete Hegseth does not have the intellectual capacity or the military record to debate somebody like Mark Kelly. He just does not.
All right, we got to leave it there. Next for us.
And they're such softies, such little crybabies. Always just crying about rhetoric and Charlie Kirk and all this crap. And look how they talk. Like, unbelievable. I don't want to hear anything about rhetoric from these people. What Trump has done to so much of this population in this country, the years is going to take to wash away. The younger generation, guys, has been growing up with this for a decade now, and they have another 3 years of this moron. Some watching their parents following their footsteps in this path of hatred, cruelty, bigotry, insanity. The minions that Trump created, the spawns that came from that man, that have really just been a disaster to society. Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, just so many more, poisoning the minds of people of all ages across this country. It's like a plague. Just picture this. All these big right-wing names just infecting the minds of people. Like, I vow, guys, to push back as much as I can for as long as I can against these people. This movement. I'll be unwavering and unyielding sword and shield against these pieces of trash. I will never stop, never relent until I'm sole ruler of this world. I'm kidding, obviously, about that last part. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. Really helps the channel, really helps push the message out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.